Okay. Peace to the family here with some full moon and Leo vibes for y'all. Tried to do this video earlier, thought the kids was gonna play, then had some other shit happen, and now we are here to take off. But generally I don't know if this video gonna go down, because it's just been that type of day in reference to like full moon vibrations and full moon energy. So what I want to talk about is the second decan of Aquarius oppose the second decan of Leo and bring about some peace and some overall high vibratory information. And I think I want to do a part 2 to this a little later, but I just want to deal with the sun energy from part 1 and then later deal with the moon energy. But it's very important to deal with both aspects of this full moon and put them together, because generally where you might be in your sun expression, you might not understand that there's a whole opposite moon expression that's based on your subconscious mind, that's based upon your deeper intuitive psychic functions and forces. So for the space of time, I'll go straight into the astrology and try to make this as succinct and as knowledgeable as possible. Thanks for everybody that's joining me, past, present, and future. So as we see, the moon is in Sidereal Leo for this full moon, and the sun is in Sidereal Aquarius for this full moon. The thing about Leo is that it speaks to rulership. Leo speaks to either queenship or kingship. So the moon is a feminine energy. Leo is a masculine energy. It's a super masculine energy. So with that super masculine energy, it can then transform whatever feminine energy is there into royalty. So the idea of the full moon in Leo, since it's a feminine aspect that is being somewhat initiated into queen-like energy, this is what's called the queen's moon, okay? And for the energy of the sun, which is opposing the moon, you have sun conjunct Venus and the mercurial energy of Aquarius. So we have the second decan of Aquarius, right? If you can look at the sun, you see the sun is at the second decan of Aquarius. So we'll bring that into reference on what that means. But before we get there, let's still deal with the moon energy. Since the moon is conjunct Leo and Vedic astrology is conjunct the nakshatra of Bhaga. Now, Bhaga, it means literally translated into a platform or a stage. At our birth, Bhaga means the part of our being where we start to sprout arms and legs. At this point, we're like really at a tadpole stage. So once we sprout our legs and our arms, that is when we come into full beingness. From an esoteric spiritual stage, from a stage, no pun intended, this is our actual performance. So imagine that from, let's say, November to today. That's too close. We will have to say September even. So September, October to February, this full moon would be like a book report. This full moon would be a class presentation. So ultimately, if you've been doing the shadow work, if you've been doing the inner work, if you've been doing the actual study of the book review, this full moon is like, okay, class, stand up and tell us what you do, what you study. And generally, there are two different types of ways to look at a full moon in Leo, hence happy or sad, right? You prepare for your role, right? It's a queen's moon, right? So ultimately, We was kings and queens, right? But how did you prepare for being a queen? How did you prepare for being a king? Did you have any preparation at all?
Low. The voltage is too low.
Thank you.
The voltage is too low.
Thank
the
you.
voltage is too low.
Thank you.
The voltage is too low. The voltage is too low.
Okay. So, so in the relation of a Leo full moon, this is why when I was doing my mystic math and things of that nature and my personal readings, make sure you, if you're interested in monthly personal readings, join the Patreon. But other than that, I've been telling people how you speak to yourself really matters. And ultimately, how you speak to yourself versus how you've been speaking to yourself creates the ultimate conflict. And our ability to sit with ourselves and really get through the shadow stuff. So I say the shadow, and I know that creates anxiety, that creates separation between me and you, because you don't understand what I mean when I reference the shadow. The shadow is anything that you experience in life that you're not okay with, that you feel don't apply to you. Anything that, you know, you resonate with, but yet you still feel your exception to that rule, right? You think that you can get by with everything, you know? And a way to understand shadow work is being in a relationship with a man, right? And that man could be like okay with how he's been treated, because he probably feel like he don't need to be treated better. A full moon in Leo is how you prepare for that role to be a specific wife if you're a wife, a jeweler if you're a jeweler, a husband if you're a husband. Because within all of these particular, so you could be in any type of movie. You might be in a crime drama. But if you in a crime drama, you can't necessarily break character if you haven't done the shadow work. So to break that down even further, a lot of things happen in the realms of relationships, such as domestic violence, domestic abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, all of these particular things, right? But they didn't just happen overnight. 10 times out of 10, a person don't just wake up out of a blue and just start going crazy. Now, exceptions to every rule. The idea with the full moon is that you work through your shadow so it don't hit as hard when the actual shadow comes, so you don't be in a situation where it's a DV, it's an emotional abuse, it's a big conclusion. I can't believe you cheated on me. Even deeper, what's the likelihood of you being in a relationship that is no troubles, right? What is the likelihood is you dealing with a man that don't have a particular level of stimulation that he needs? So back to my original point, without factoring a man's needs in a long-term relationship, that creates shadow. And a lot of times people like to be surprised about it. So this is a marriage full moon because it's ruled by the energy of Bihaga. Now, Bihaga teaches more than marriage. It teaches how to start over, how to create the actual story or narrative for your relationship. And you don't know the outcome when you are married. In most relationships, in most cultures, most relationships are planned based upon astrology. Because most people know, ancient people know that love is not an instantaneous vibratory frequency. Love is something that you learn. Love is something that you grow into. Love is not like an expectation on soon as I meet you, I fall in love with you. Right? Ultimately, your mom and dad should choose your husband and wife because your mom and dad really care about the legacy that they have. And they're not just going to have their son or their daughter just marry any old fool out here in these streets. Only in America, though. So when you reference, why is my relationship not working out? Did you sit down and do the synastry? Did you sit down and see if you two were compatible from an astrological level? Because if you were compatible from an astrological level, then the love would result in the actual learning, right? But ultimately, when you're choosing a partner for your child, see, this is successful family building, legacy building. And generally, my audience, they don't know much about it. But I ultimately like to speak to certain things and have you think about it in a certain form or fashion. So we have this deep love and marriage relationship shadow working full moon. So we could show up in our full moon energy with the best intention, best expectation, highest vibration. The trick to that is that people want to wish themselves into it, but you can't necessarily wish yourself into it based upon a sun in Aquarius. Now, as I stated earlier, the sun is in the second decan of Aquarius. The nakshatra of this decan is Sharabisha, right? Sharabisha is ruled by the deity Indra. Now, Indra is a particular vibratory frequency of surrounding or covering. And if you just reading this, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about, hood? I don't get what you're saying, okay? Stick with me. The 11th house of the astrological chart, Aquarius, and the 12th house speak to elevated concepts of human experience. Capricorn too. That's why I talk about big Capricorn energy, big Sagittarius energy, big Aquarius energy, big Pisces energy. It's a specific reason that I talk about these energies in Pacific, because they're purely spiritual, but spiritual, magical, technological. If you study the technology and the building blocks, you will get to a point that you're doing magic because you understand the foundation of these particular principles. So when you reference Aquarius, the most simplest terms that I can reference Aquarius is your electromagnetic spectrum. So when you deal with the energy of Indra, right, it is saying to surround or to cover, right? Or a binding. You are binded to your electromagnetic frequency. And so with this being said, I want to stick here for a second. And then, like I said, I want to come back later to discuss the moon. But in specific to part 1, I want to deal specifically with our sun expression. So for those who are just joining me, the sun is presently in the second decan of Aquarius. Okay. The sun is completely related to your electromagnetic spectrum, okay? And in understanding your electromagnetic spectrum, you have to understand how you process things on a mental and emotional level. So let's just sit here. Let's really sit and factor and process our initiations, our education, and our learning to create a particular vibration of knowledge and wisdom. It's like if I learned how to box versus I just beat people up in the streets. If I go to an actual boxing ring, I'm gonna get my ass beat. But if I learned and I studied and I had a trainer and I figured how to bob and weave and got my footwork together, I might not win every fight, but I would be proficient enough in how to actually fight. Now, what got me to be the best boxer of all time? 10 times out of 10, I got my ass whipped. 10 times out of 10, we all got our ass whipped in life. 10 times out of 10, we don't want our ass whipped again. 10 times out of 10, we chose 2 different ways to go about it. We perpetuated that fear. My boyfriend left me. My boyfriend hurt me. So I'm going to treat you a certain type of way because I don't want that to happen again. Versus my boyfriend left me. My boyfriend hurt me. I understood why. I learned his love language. I got myself together. I realized that it was more important for me to be in another relationship. So I got my mind right. I got the skills. And when I stepped into that relationship ring, I didn't win every battle, but I was a you couldn't just mollywop my ass, right? I built myself up with knowledge. It's so much information in relation to how men think, how men respond, what men like. And 10 times out of 10, women are not ready to learn that shit at all. And 10 times out of 10, vice versa. But I can only speak from my perspective, family. Ladies, do not get on a man's post or comment on his video. Well, it's the same way for women too. Because at the same time, that's very dismissive and derogatory to what he is trying to establish with you being receptive to what he's trying to put forward. Yeah, I hear you, but women experience that too. Not gonna really solve the problem now, is it? If you're referencing a masculine full moon and a queen's moon. A queen's moon deals with a specific responsibility, not to herself, but to a nation. So when you understand the actual tools that it needs to run a nation, is not on an emotional spectrum. Because emotional spectrum is going to have you in that little circle over here, in the fear. Hoping and wishing not to be triggered. When you reference love, you're then referencing a moment-to-moment experience that you're learning more about that person. And when you reference it all in totality, when you look back, you can say, yeah, I love this person. I love this person a lot. But if you're looking for that home run, when I seen this person, they did everything for me. They hit every single box. They checked every standard, everything that I was looking for. I was on YouTube. I was watching a video, how to manifest a perfect man. And they told me to write a list, right? And I wrote that list. I walked outside the next day and I met a man. He fit every check on that list. And at the same time, he liked everything about me. He had a list too, and he had everything about me is what he wanted, and we lived happily ever after. That's irrational, unrealistic. Relationships are not a magical aspect unless you deal with the technology of it, the Aquarian function. So let's deal with Aquarius as a function. Aquarius goes to the spiritual will of life, takes that energy and brings it back to the village. The end. Period. It doesn't take the spiritual energy and says, oh shit, I went to the water village and I got enough water to last me from here to eternity, and fuck the village. That's not Aquarian in nature. That's not even an astrological concept. But if you were to understand the level of Aquarius, it's quite simple. To teach, to reteach, to uphold the frequency of love, because the frequency of love allows for the individual to expand their electromagnetic spectrum. The difference between an Aquarian full moon is that you actually feel the facts where you are actually in fear. And you never was to sit and be like, all right, how do I get better at this shit? What do I need to learn? 10 times out of 10 is who else can I fucking trick into their lack of knowledge? Because generally it's a situation where it's like, okay, I want to benefit off of this person. And if I don't benefit off of this person, he's a fuck nigga. He was a piece of shit. And everything that happened between us is just a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Let me tell you about this fuck nigga that allows me to perpetuate the frequency of fear. Let me tell you about this person that I met that I allowed to have me in a space where I'm only exuding the energy of fear. Because the energy of fear is a safe space for me, and it actually is pretty good. I'm telling you, it's the best shit ever at preventing you from experiencing bad shit that ever happened. It don't happen to you again. You never get hurt, right? You never get taken advantage of. You never get cheated on, right? You get treated I don't know how you get treated, but you don't get treated bad, right? When you exist in the level of fear, but you do not experience love. You do not experience love because love takes time. This is why in ancient societies, you can Google it, all over the world to this day, mamas and daddies are saying, You will not be a thotty, hottie, too hot. You will be in the relationship in relation to the legacy for which you came forth. You will not ruin this legacy with some nigga named Jamario from Brown the Block because you horny. Get that shit out your mind. Because we see what happened to people who think like that. They ruin all type of legacy, be all type of confused, be trying to figure it out, doing rituals, doing spells, trying to find a man. His name is Jimmy. This is mama. This is daddy. And if he do anything to you, you call your daddy. I'll come there and I'll shoot him and I'll get away with it because it's laws for that shit. You could just shoot a nigga for violating your life. You know, it's like protecting your daughters, protecting your sons in an actual way to where they don't ruin their fucking life. Right? And understanding that love is not lust. Let's talk about this. Because a lot of y'all are real confused about this shit. I thought I loved him. How? Did he spend months and months trying to get to know you at an intellectual, mental level? Were y'all learning things together? Did y'all have similar life paths? No. His penis was hard and I was wet. And we said, let's do the damn thing. Ain't that love? No, that's lust. Love is a actual space and time that you learn and you grow and you expand from real shit. Real shit. Real vibrations, real relations, real shit. It's not an emotional thing. You don't emotionally love somebody. That's lust or infatuation. That eventually gets perpetuated into a situation that it don't stand up because within the concept of a man and woman is intellectual, is mental. Every mental sign. So the last time we dealt with mental signs on this channel was in Libra. Now Libra rules the 7th house. Getting hot. And it's winter too, and the car off. I wrote the damn window down. If I could find the keys, I might be trapped in the bitch. Whew. Woosah. Okay, the keys is right here. Give me a second. So air signs. Gemini. The tarot card for Gemini is the Lovers. Okay? Libra. Libra rules the 7th house. The 7th house is the house of marriage. Air sign. Aquarius. The sign of the water bearer. I gave you the mythology of the water bearer. We dealing with our electromagnetic energy. And our electromagnetic energy is how we expand. So your expansion is real. Who has strong electromagnetic energy? Somebody like Puff Daddy. If I knocked on my neighbor's door and I said, hey neighbor, do you know who Puff Daddy is? They say, yeah, I know Puff Daddy. That's the Harlem Shake. Take that. That dude. Yeah, it's Puff Daddy. Okay. Strong electromagnetic energy. Now, if I'm like, you know Zachariah Walker? And they like, huh? I don't know no goddamn Zachariah Walker, nigga. Get the what you knocking on my door asking me if I know Zachariah Walker for? So, it's a human being, just like Puff Daddy, but decided, or genetics too, because sometimes people are taller than other people, right? Sometimes pheromones are stronger for other people, but ultimately I see both sides. So Aquarius in its most simplest form is learning. So like I said, the analogy is the water bearer goes to the Nile River, gets water that sustains the village, takes it back. Maybe the village is 50 miles. So you meaning that without this person going to the Nile to get the water, the community starves. Okay, so the water bearer is actually the most important person. So how do you apply that to everyday knowledge? The person who learns vital information, the construction workers, the carpenters, the plumbers, the electricians, the civil engineers, the chemists, the biologists, the people who, the manufacturers, these people have actual knowledge and they will share it. They'll give it. Now, a person who is a certified carpenter, they did not do rituals and initiations and call themselves a healer and act like as if they were spiritual to become the world's best carpenter. And even if they got that shit off at a full moon, a person would then say, man, your ad and your marketing was top notch. But when you actually put together this table was a piece of shit. So another analogy is the actual education that it takes in understanding your relationships is the result of how your table gonna look. So the conversations that you have within your relationship, the actual reality that you exist in the world with a man and woman is your ability to exist in a space of love. I know for a fact that women are dealing with men based upon if the rent getting paid on time, meaning that if the rent ain't paid on the first, the relationship ain't gonna work. And she might let one slip, she might let one eviction notice come, and if you pay it, cool. But if she gotta get out of her house and move back to her mama, it's over for you, fam. It ain't gonna be no situation that will have a person be like, oh yeah, I'm with him for money, but he broke. He'll be all right. He'll bounce back. This car is funny as hell to me, man.
I was confused as shit. Like, you got the key. Okay, I'm like, I already know I'm tripping. So
this car funny. So what I'm referencing is the ability to learn something creates the love. There is nothing on God's green earth that a person just did naturally, was an expert at it, and just lived their life as, I'm just an expert at this shit, I just don't know. I'm just good with niggas, man. These dudes, they just love me. And I know women be like, well, I'm like that. You being like that is the same person that go to the river, get all of the water, and the rest of the community starve. It's good for you, fam, that you're like that. This is the problem with Aquarius is at the core. Amazing individuals, selfish as a fuck. So I don't care. Don't nobody care about your accomplishments and the things that you're doing out here in these streets, because the nature of life is that of community. Aquarius rules the 11th house, the house of society, the house of communication. So love, the internet confuses y'all. The internet put y'all in all types of quandaries and shit like that. The internet is say shit like self-love is the only type of love you need. But then don't explain what self-love is. So generally, people will say, well, I took a shower today. Well, I ain't got a man. I love myself. I took a bath. I put on makeup. Everybody can do that. That's not exactly what self-love is. Self-love is the love that the self has for you, to which you begin to be an actual representative or a beacon for that love that the self has for you, to which is the love that you give to others. The selfless, unrequited, not looking for no praise, is just giving love. Now, the person who is the water barrier, the water barrier. The person who is the water barrier that goes to the ocean gets the actual sustenance. The educators, the carpenters, the cryptocurrency people, the people who making all of the money, making all of the moves. They then are at the mercy to say, do I help another person or do I just do it for myself? And ultimately, we live in a world where there's Aquarian energy that just sit with they found the goddamn river, meaning that they found the knowledge. They know about cryptocurrency, trust me. They know about financial markets. They know about real estate. They know about everything. But you think they're going to tell you? Fuck no. And generally, if they are, they're in the space of love and their electromagnetic spectrum is radiating, vibrating. You knock on their door. Hey, you heard about Jermaine Johnson? Oh, you talk about the person who be telling the niggas in the hood about cryptocurrency? Yeah, I heard about him. It's called word of mouth. You either get word of mouth from doing some wild shit or by perpetuating an Aquarian function. Because a lot of times y'all really do think that the knowledge that y'all acquire is for y'all. I'm talking to my astrologers out there. I'm talking to my healers and stuff. Oh, I had a vision. I had a vision that my life was going to be perfect and y'all niggas was going to be struggling. Right? Like, it's so fucking ridiculous when people get on, like, to celebrate or to brag. Because what it does, it creates an unrealistic understanding of relationships, of the way that this thing works. Because we all have to come to this particular spot where we are learning our relationships, learning our partner. You do not know your partner. Today they woke up with a new energy. Or your partner been keeping shit in for the past 6 months. Ain't just told your ass. Be prepared for it Friday, Saturday for them to tell some shit. Been in a space where they have normalized being open and honest with you. Listen, a person who not talking to you is a fucking time bomb. You don't think that a motherfucker is thinking about all types of shit? You think that a person don't got feelings and emotions and stuff? You think that you could be like, well, I'm feeling like this today, Tom. Tom gonna tell you, I'm feeling like this too. What you gonna do about it? I can't believe you're coming at me like this, Tom. After all that, motherfuckers crying and yelling and shit. This shit all could have been resolved if y'all loved each other. See, the problem with relationships without this vital knowledge is that motherfuckers are not doing it right. What am I talking about? I said everything in the space of relationships is not physical, nor is it emotional, nor is it passion. Physical, emotional, and passionate aspects are for the self. Mental aspects is how we communicate and build with one another. The reality is that it's flipped on your ass. You're trying to find a relationship based on physicality, emotional connection, and passion. But then when it comes to yourself, you're not physically happy with yourself. You're not emotionally stable, nor are you passionate about your future. You working at goddamn Chick-fil-A or some shit, hating your job. Feeling like a relationship from a dude that look good, who understand your financial situation and want to pour into you is going to be your salvation. But the reality is, it might be a completely different thing if you develop a mental understanding with men. But see, men are complicated, they're deep, and you cannot rely on your single friends for advice on your man. Because the mental relationship that you establishing with your friend is the mental relationship that you need to be establishing with your partner. All aspects of relationship, according to the zodiac, are mental aspects. And mental aspects are a result of education and learning. The end. When you open up a book, you don't know what the fuck is in it. That's why you gotta bring a notebook and write down the shit that resonates you. If you read a word that you don't understand, you gotta get a dictionary. Y'all be in relationships and the man say a word that you don't understand, and y'all get mad. I don't like the word you use. I don't know that word you use. Let me find a dictionary and etymology and figure out what that means. Y'all so quick to not understand shit, and because y'all don't understand shit, create the barrier or wall or surrounding, right? Indra. These two words are the same thing, or these two concepts. Indra and your actual electromagnetic spectrum of what you are sending out are two things. You are bounded to how you feel. And how you feel from a physical, emotional, and physical level is the energy that you will exude in your relationships. And this will allow you to create the space of learning your partner. If you have invested years and years and years and years and years and years of fear, this is the energy that you will give to your partner. And when it comes to what you are sitting with, you are probably living with the opposite energies of wealth, prosperity, and you're on the skits right now. You're thinking like, man, I really got to divorce this nigga. I really got to let this nigga go because it's just not working, right? It's not working because y'all not learning. It's not working because y'all not talking. It's not working because y'all have no skills. Back to the water bearer. The water bearer and the water from the now being knowledge. Literal knowledge. Simple as a carpenter. I think that's why Jesus and his daddy was a carpenter, because we all could come to a understanding, a consensus. Does this table even out? Is this even a fucking table? Yeah, it's a table. Can we sit down and eat on it? Yeah, we can sit down and even thumbs up. You go to Burger King. We all go to Burger King, sit down at the goddamn table, eat our food, it's a table. It's a carpenter. We can rely on this shit. You never went to a restaurant and said, this is the meditative, healing carpenter. His tables, they ain't really there, but if you meditate long enough, if you sign up to his class, if you go through these specific steps, you will then have a magical table. What is that? That's a charlatan. That's a scam artist. The reality of spirituality outside of building healthy relationships is a scam. Anything that you do outside of learning how to build your relationships, you're going to be feeling defeated. Because all you had to do was learn how to build the fucking table. But you said, no, I don't want to build a table. I just want to hate niggas that don't build tables like I want them to build tables. Okay. It's extremely simple to sit down and to talk. But the way that society, what has society done? Since the beginning of time, since y'all decided, hey little Susie, hey little Jasmine, you want to watch a movie? Yeah, Mom, I want to watch a movie. Okay, let me show you this bullshit about how relationships, all you got to do is show up and look pretty and guys will be smitten over you. Okay, how many times do I have to watch these types of movies, Mom? Every day for the rest of your childhood, up into your teenage years, into your adulthood. You're going to really feel like love is some fairy tale magical shit. And you don't got to do nothing, sis, but just be yourself. Okay, Mom. And then you get out here in the real world and be pretty as a motherfucker every time. And the nigga's not happy. He's not satisfied with just beauty. The thing about every pretty girl is a story about how dude wasn't really feeling her. Every pretty girl ain't walking around here married with rings on their finger. So obviously it's not just that. It would have to be something more to build the relationship, which would be a mental connection. So that first mental connection is with self. That second mental connection is being with the guy or woman that doesn't throw you off balance. See, sometimes you will be with a person and they get you too eager and that balance is off because you then think that you're not good enough for them, right? And you still work through it unbalanced. And when the shit don't work out, you be happy because you find homeostasis. You ever notice that you feel much better when you single versus being in a relationship? Because the way that you go about relationships is based upon you being inferior. But if you didn't develop that relationship in Gemini with your soul, you are inferior to the actual fact of life. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Your inner child is the most important relationship that you'll ever have. Right? That leads to a relationship. Then that leads to, okay, I've mastered my 10th house. Now I'm just getting me an ivory tower, a castle, give me some girls that's trying to do some freaky stuff, and I'm going to just live the rest of my life in overall bliss and overall freaky. I've made the money. And the crazy part is that, and this is going to sound crazy, but it's like our women want to be just as successful as the men, and the men not even that successful. That's what's crazy. And then once y'all get the success, y'all get the high rise, y'all get the loft apartment, y'all get the money, don't know shit about relationship building because you spent the last 10, 20 years making some other motherfucker wealthy with the hopes that you would accomplish all of the things that you personally would accomplish, but that is not astrological in nature now, is it? There's an 11th house and there's a 12th house that don't nobody actually want to deal with. When they built the calendar, they say it's only 10 months and they just added 2. Well, since they added those 2 months, they added 2 dynamics to which we don't actually fully deal with. And that is the Aquarian dynamic combined with the Piscean dynamic. The Aquarian dynamic is how you give back. I study astrology, I study tarot, I study a multitude of things, but I don't just sit on them and just be like, look at me, y'all. I'm the deepest nigga ever on YouTube. Y'all should celebrate me. Now, do I feel like that sometimes? Sometimes I do feel like that, but ultimately I feel like that because I fucking share. And I'm making it to a point that I'm not even talking to a person that, like, I'm not even talking to myself. I understand that people can listen and understand the words that's coming out of my mouth. So I'm more joking, I'm more funnier with it and stuff like that. But it's just sharing information, sharing knowledge. So before you share knowledge, you have to go to the river. So what is going to the river? Going to the collective consciousness, going to your meditation, going to your higher self, meditating, understanding your higher self, even if it gets bad. The 11th house is like ritual, psychedelic use. So ayahuasca, shrooms, vision quests. You have to develop a connection with source, but you gotta be mindful of what you're going to do afterwards. The way that you, so source ruled by Mercury, Aquarius, the second deacon of Aquarius is ruled by Mercury. So if you know anything about Mercury, Mercury is a trickster. So if Mercury is tricking you on some shit, it's going to have you in a place where I'm going to look for the river for my own personal shit. I heard that it was a river giving away unlimited knowledge, and nigga, I won't in. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to get what I want out of this shit. And that's the end of it. Nigga, you won't find the river. You won't find it. Because if you're selfish, forget about it. If you're only thinking about yourself, forget about it. The people that's selfish will struggle the most. And I just look at them and say, yes, no, okay, I'll talk to you later. End of the phone conversation. Because a selfish motherfucker don't make it out here in these streets. So, getting to the point. Learning and relearning and learning to share. So once you say, I'm going to find the river because I'm going to take care of my tribe. I'm going to take care of my village with this information. Then Ishu say, that's all I want to fucking hear. Mercury say, that's all I fucking want to hear. Hermes say, that's all I want to hear. Right? Nana Bozo say, that's all I want to hear. I was just playing with you. The fucking river right here. Drink up, motherfucker. Jokes. I was just playing. Nigga be walking around up and down, left and right. Where's the river, Hood said, I got an Aquarius sun and an Aquarius moon. Where's the fucking river? The reason that I know, so my homeboy, Nikos, he got I ain't gonna say what he got. He got Aquarius placements. Let's just say that. And if y'all know Nikos, you understand what the fuck I'm saying. When you got it, you got it. When you are... But see, the thing about Nikos is, he ain't just the dude that's and he could be, fam. He probably could stunt on a lot of people that you think is, doing big things out here. But my brother is so focused on his family that he don't even be bragging like that. And I be talking to him like, bro, you need to stunt on these boys' heads, fam. But he Aquarius. You know, he's real centered on his tribe, his family, his legacy, his is a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. And we talking about beautiful masculine energy that really deserves positive energy. Masculine energy. I'm not talking about the nigga that cheated on you and did you wrong and did you dirty when you was in high school. And I'm not minimizing what he did either. I'm specifically talking to the man that shows up in his divine masculine every day. That man deserves to be loved. So the intelligence and the knowledge and the acquiescence to the love of self, which is going to the river, taking that knowledge, absorbing that knowledge, bringing it back to the village. But ultimately, you can't just go there with a little cup, run back to the village, and be like, Shh. What's up, niggas? Here goes some water. Hope y'all happy. Sometimes you gotta sit with your Oshun. Sometimes you gotta sit with your divine feminine. And that's what we'll talk about tonight when we discuss this moon energy. But to sit with your Oshun, she is going to tell you about your royalty. She is going to explain your power. You get to absorb that water too. You get to allow that energy to absorb through you. And as you absorb the love that your divine feminine has for you, your natural expression is that of love and giving love. However, when you reference a full moon in Leo, the problem with it is that you can't fake it. You cannot be a bad actor, right? You cannot be half-assed with your desire or your intention. You have to be completely authentic and committed to the role that you are in. And ultimately, as we talk later about sexual and masculine energies, I know it might seem like a lot if you're on the outside looking in, but my thing is, based upon the mercurial aspect to the energy, it may not be as hard as you think. It may be super easy if you connect to your Oshun. If you give offerings to your Ishu, say, nigga, stop playing with me, okay? I'm tired of, I don't want to be tricked, right? But then you have to then make a commitment to your Oshun, your divine feminine, of how you show up. Do you show up with fear or do you show up with love? Or you say, I'm going to show up with love, I promise. Just stop fucking with me, right? You got to make deals, right? You got to leverage shit. This is all full moon in Leo, because when you talk about actors and performers, if they didn't make a deal, you would have never heard about them. If they ain't signed a contract, nigga, you would have never heard about them. Talk about independent artists versus major label artists. Talking about acclaimed actors versus actors that have been working with your cousin and them. Once again, electromagnetic energy. You ever heard of Wesley Snipes? Yeah, I heard of Wesley Snipes. You ever heard of Lionel Brown? He was the actor in this fucking straight to TV play I did when I was in high school or some shit. No, I don't know that nigga. Okay. So the ability to fully learn your craft and put your craft out there is your ability to expand your electromagnetic spectrum. And Wesley Snipes is not knocking on everybody's door. I hope you remember me. 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 He's letting his work stand for himself. So once again, gotta double down on this because I just want to be clear. What you're able to learn, what you're able to give, is the ability to tap into your magic. Your ability to open yourself up to ritual, to intention, to okay, tired of fucking around. I want to deal with my source energy. And if you're able to deal with your source energy, you're able to find a solution. You're able to go to the river, and you'll definitely get to the river if you know the overall outcome. I'm trying to share. I'm trying to build in love. This is what I want. I don't know how to get it, but I'm willing to learn. Same way as you went to carpenter school. If you just showed up to carpenter school and nobody told you how to build a chair, you would suck at the aspect. If you stayed in carpenter school for 10 years and didn't learn the mechanics of carpentry, did not learn angles, you would suck at carpentry for 10 fucking years. So just because you've been in a relationship for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, if you did not sit down and learn that energy, that divine masculine energy, that divine feminine energy, you can still suck at the relationship. It is a matter of happiness and joy. It is the matter of utmost sincerity and utmost importance, because y'all will learn some college shit. If niggas say, here go a white man degree, y'all will buckle down. Y'all do fucking all-nighters. Y'all fucking cram for an exam. Love your husband. I don't know if I can do that, hood. This is too much. I don't have the energy He gets on my nerves, blah, 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 blah. So I just beg to differ. I beg to disagree. And it's more or less tied into the actual love that you're willing to build and grow with your partner. Because no love exists on the onset. Every love is built upon gaining a mental connection. And even deeper, you can lose that mental connection and your ass gonna be in divorce court. Starting Monday. Watch what I tell you. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, shit is gonna be unraveling. And y'all gonna be like, Hood told us so. He said it. And we gonna know exactly why. Because a relationship ain't based upon what people think. Relationships is based on the function. Just because I think I can make a dope table, if my table is linked and fucked up, one thing, ain't nobody gonna buy it. And two, ain't no rhyme or reason that I'm gonna be better just because I'm going to my carpenter store. I'm at the carpenter store. I got all the tools. I must be great at it. No, it don't necessarily work like that. So hopefully we can deal with a lot of the analogies and find ourselves in our relationships, whether our relationships with our partner or relationships with self. If you don't have a partner, then we're referencing your relationship to self. By digging in and building that relationship with self is expanding your electromagnetic sphere. Another way that this shows up, a guy like me, take it from a guy like me. I got 4 kids and I never been happier. I should have been this happy when I was single with no kids. I would have took over the planet, took over the world, and never looked back. So don't be like me and wait till you have kids to decide to be happy. You need to build a relationship with your soul that is sustaining, that is validating, that is real, that is true, that will take you from the sad face to the happy face. Right? And begin to portray and act and live as though you love yourself from the deepest core like space. And don't trick yourself, don't fool yourself, and don't lie to yourself. Be completely committed to yourself and love yourself at the deepest levels. But in relation to this, I'm going to go live again with my wife as we'll discuss this moon in Leo and some other things. But relationships are king. Make sure you're working on them, developing them, and I'll see y'all on the flip side. Peace.